Check. Check. 1, 2, check.
Hi, everybody. We're going to get the program. Oh, sorry.
No, I don't know. Is it on? I have no idea.
This one's on. We're good to go. Okay.
Okay.
We're going to get the program going here because we have folks joining over live stream as well. I know many of you have been here for all these presentations, but my name is Cole Thompson. I'm the curator of public dialogue and participation here at the galleries. And before we start the program, I just want to acknowledge that we're meeting on Treaty 6 territory in the traditional homeland of Métis, which grounds our activities and the ways that we move through these spaces. So want to welcome you all. We're lucky to have Atrayee Basu here as our third and final speaker in a series of presentations by second-year MFA candidates, where they've been discussing their research and experience in the lead up to the final thesis exhibitions beginning this August through till September. I, of course, want to acknowledge the work of my colleague Gabby De Silva, who has served as the primary coordinator for this series. And I want to give a big thanks to Ben and Al and everybody at Media Productions for their expertise and commitment to the project as well. With that, I'm going to hand over the mic to Jennifer Crane, Atrayee's one of Atrayee's thesis supervisors, to give a proper introduction. So thanks all for being here.
Thank you, Cole. I'm Jennifer Crane, Professor of Photography and Digital Imaging at the School for the Arts, and I am delighted to be here today to introduce our guest speaker, MFA candidate, Atrayee Basu. I've had the privilege of working with Atrayee for the past 4 years, initially as a student in my undergraduate photo classes, and also as co-supervisor for her BFA show, and now as her MFA co-supervisor with Dr. Susanna Barnes in anthropology. Atrayee began the MFA studio program in September 2024. Her studio praxis engages with material experimentation in analog photography, sculpture, installation, combined with methodologies of ethnography and community-engaged practice. Of particular note is her interdisciplinary research into clay communities, both local and global, which has been funded through her award from SSHRC, the Social Sciences Humanities Research Council. Atrayee is Canadian living in Saskatoon, but she grew up in Kolkata, India, in a Bengali Hindu community, thus influencing her interest in ritual, migratory experiences, diasporic communities, and adaptation. Her BFA honors thesis exhibition was titled Presence and Absence in 2024. Since then, she has shown her work in many group exhibitions, including, most recently, Wobbly Ground at the Snellgrove Gallery on campus, Winter Festival at the Mann Art Gallery in Prince Albert, for which she received the John and Marjorie Hicks Memorial Award, and she recently completed a mini residency in January with Cayubi Culture Artist Collective in Saskatoon. Please give a warm welcome to Atrayee Basu.
Thanks, Jennifer. Om Bhuvasvaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Vargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. I respect, gratitude, and surrender to the supreme power that illuminates the universe. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto us all. I bow down to this ancient land and all ancestors who gave me a chance to create a relationship with one another. Gayatri is a Sanskrit chanting that I just did. It is the divine consciousness that illuminates within all of us. Namaste and welcome. As you know, I grew up in India, a place called Kolkata. It's the eastern part of India. And this kind of Sanskrit chants are kind of everyday life for us. I'll start my presentation with my promotional image, specifically the word. So Ekchala is a Bengali word. And with Google and support of AI, we have I couldn't imagine that this much explanation this could give, but well, this is. So Ek is one, and Chala goes with roof, with frame. It's kind of a one family. And I think the metaphorical meaning aligns with my master's research, which is anthropology and fine arts. I'm trying to understand my work through a different lens and put it into a single frame. Before I jump into my research, I'm going to take a detour to talk about why I'm pursuing my master's degree in anthropology and fine arts. The spark happened in 2022 with a group show at the Snail Grove Gallery in October. The show was titled Anxious Document of Great Precision and curated by Craig Campbell. He was a visiting professor from Texas, Austin. A studio-intensive workshop exploring the shared tasks of ethnography, documentary photography, and contemporary art. Both of my supervisors participated in that show. With this curiosity, I started reading books and published papers. A book called Between Art and Anthropology, written by Ernst Schneider and Christopher Wright. And this is their word. A simple analogy is the flow of two liquid colored paints that are mixed on a surface, where not only do new colors evolve, but skeins and threads of both colors are interwoven and intermingled, and yet, in places, remain completely separate. Despite the two colors maintaining their original identities in places, together they achieve new colors and forms. Very poetic, and I am charged up with this. So, in summer 2023, I met my two supervisors. They supported my idea of interdisciplinary work, and I started my journey, master's journey in 2024, September. I wanted to gain more knowledge with clay during my master's, so my proposal was to work with the clay community in Alberta. Well, to understand my current research journey, I will take a detour here. Sometimes research is painful. Last January, after submitting my ethics application, and people who does ethics application, they know the process. I don't know what happened, but I got an email from that organization saying they are unable to support due to some internal issues. So that didn't work out. And more work on my plate. The Bengali New Year celebration takes place on April 14 or 15 every year. And I usually plan it for our community. As I was planning the celebration and simultaneously digging deep into my thoughts about my research, the spark happened again. A research topic popped into my head, and I had a green signal from my supervisors and my committee. Durga Puja is a cultural heritage of mine. On December 15, 2021, UNESCO officially announced the inclusion of Durga Puja in Kolkata on the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. More than 4,000 celebration takes place in Kolkata every year in the month of September or October, depending on the star alignment. For 10 days, the city turns into an art hub. Millions of dollar transaction happens. Just get to a taste how big an idol can be. The height can go 100 feet tall, made of unfired clay. And the clubs try to break each other's record almost every year. That's the craziness of Kolkata people. Yeah. After 10 days, everything was taken down and all idols were immersed into Ganges. After the immersion, people collect materials for reusing, especially bamboo structures. During Durga Puja, everyone forgets the division of class, religious, and ethnicity. And people of all ages showcase new outfit for days, merging into crowd of viewers as they walk around to admire the installations. This is not just a religious celebration, but a community festivity. Also, there are family pujas, which are very cozy and more of a family gathering with lots of food and nonstop fun. My research is about this celebration here in Saskatoon, how this small community kept their heritage alive for past 56 years while contributing to the broader community in Saskatchewan. This project explores identity, memory, and cultural traditions in Saskatoon Bengali community by blending creative practice with ethnographic research. As an artist, educator, and active community member, I draw on personal experience to examine how cultural heritage is preserved, reimagined, and expressed through storytelling, ritual, artistic exploration, and community engagement. Focusing on the everyday practice of the diaspora, the project connects cultural life in Saskatoon with its roots in West Bengal and India, tracing how traditions move, adapt, and take on new meanings across geographics. This small community try their best to reconnect or reimagine a familiar space and place by decorating, preparing authentic food for the crowd, and keeping rituals alive. In the video, you saw same idol with different decorations. So you may ask the question, what happens to the idol after your celebration? Do you immerse in South Saskatchewan River? No. We store it in a box and kept it in a garage and bring out every year to worship. In contemporary times, people around the world celebrate this puja. For convenience, durability, and weight, artists are making fiberglass idols. We pay thousands of dollars to keep worshiping for years on one adaptation. A lot happens when the place changes. Taking another detour here. As a child, in that hot and humid weather, seriously like 98 to 99% humidity in Kolkata, constantly sweating, my dedication to sitting and watching a clay artist make this divine did something to me. I never knew I would work with clay one day, but one thing I remember most about my school projects was always making something out of clay, air drying, and painting. With Ethics Board approval, I had the opportunity to visit Kolkata last year for my field work. I worked with our temple artists. Those moments were nostalgic. I couldn't believe that one day I would be an artist making this divine. Now that I'm retrieving myself, So this is our temple in Kolkata. All those memories came back. I started working with the artist immediately. Interestingly, the artist I was working with was a young man who was helping his father when I was a little girl. So as I started working, I was surprised to use few specific techniques applying clay, and he was surprised to see me working without asking any further questions. It was a seamless transition. We talked and started creating this divine. Through this process, I connected with materials, which revealed what allows me to express myself most naturally, and the journey turned out to be something that I hadn't imagined. Artistic practice is not just about materials. It is the knowledge, love, care, passion, and worship that I learned from him. I learned more about practicing rituals, listening to my materials, and allowing myself to reciprocate and create the bonding. I enriched my artistic ability by spending hours of listening to stories passed down through generations of clay artists. He shared how he learned to prepare raw clay for the surface, how to mix husk, and how to find those cuts should be. Just an enormous amount of learning. This divine takes months because it is all unfired clay. You need weeks of drying time. So layering is the most important step, and calculating time is next. It is absolutely important to plan and stick with it. On the calendar, September, October is the month of celebration. So it is always a monsoon season before the celebration. So here comes the hard part. So drying takes longer. So we followed strict time schedule to complete each section within that allocated time. We used to start in the early morning because again, hot, and finish one layer by noon because again, we need the timing. The first layer took us 3 days to finish, then 7 days of waiting, then another layer. I learned how to measure dryness, where to look for it. If it is too dry, how to fix it before the second layer. Clay artists use 3 different types of clay. Each has its own characteristics, from rough texture to polished like silk. And each should be used in 3 different stages. An amazing experience of time management, routine, ritual, and whatnot. I can add so many adjectives and move on and on. Time is limited. So, this experience helped me unlock many doors. As an artist, I feel my eyes are more seasoned. I honed my skills. For him, there were no rulers, no tape measures. Without formal training, yet his knowledge, experience, and little tricks of remembering body measurements were amazing. He never learned human anatomy from books, but by shared knowledge and experiential learning. That reminded me of my working with tools to measure my head, face, nose to finish my first clay portrait. And I know someone in the audience who was there with me and seeing how bad it was, I think. It was not great. So I was totally blown up by looking at his way of working. It's just amazing how quickly he can figure out the length of the hand and where to do stuff. It was amazing. Now I'm more confident in leaving a few tools behind and working with my embedded knowledge. So this is one of my class projects that I did. And here I tried again by thinking about symbol and meaning of materials that can enhance my artistic journey for this master's. So this project called Relevance of Cultural Artifacts Beyond Time and Space. In this research, I wanted to bring my Indian classical vocal and dancing training. Dance is a universal language of expression, a form of storytelling through rhythmic body movement, a visual language engaging with words of deeper meaning. As an artist, I wanted to take inspiration from my cultural artifact. The mythology suggests that to protect, one must showcase one's faith and strength in the face of unlikely circumstances. And at present, this makes more sense. And I feel I am powerful and positive by practicing my art in that way. The second work here is called The Palette of Belonging. So I had an opportunity to work with QB Culture in downtown, and they gave me almost 2 months with December's break. And I took out of my studio area and kind of focused a little bit differently that how can I express myself more meaningfully. So during my research, I am asking myself multiple questions. How color influences placemaking, the meaning of symbols, how color brings back memory, the cultural influence or effect of color and symbols in diaspora. And it is vital to use color and symbols in my work. Is it really important? Many unknown facets of color and symbolism that can shape my story and my understanding of placemaking. In this quest, I am the vessel, holding, belonging, placemaking, and history of my rich culture allow me to express me in this piece. Symbols are as essential part of social identity. Diasporic rituals, meaning, and the fundamentals of communication are tied to symbols. Each symbol from places answer essential questions one way or another. The line drawing in the center of this piece depicts Kalasha as a footings of my culture and me. So Kalasha is it's kind of a picture. It's very hard to have an English word right there, but again, it's kind of a picture. We have water in there, and that water brings back life into deities and brings back life around us too. So that's why the divine starts. And sometimes it's made of clay, fired clay always, not unfired. Then brass, copper, silver, even gold. So here I'm depicting myself as this vessel. This line drawing is the center of this piece, so depicts the Kalasha. Its symbols tells a story of me trying to grasp and understand, keeping these symbols dear to me as I am a faraway land, to my rich culture, and to finding a sense of belonging in the new space and place I am now. This is the one, Ekchala. So this is the complete image of the work I made during our MFA intensive program. It's a wonderful way of sharing my thoughts and gaining knowledge from my cohort. So we spent time together, 3 weeks in the gallery, and we built a lot of memory. So I did this. So this is a translation of openness, beginning, possibility, togetherness. The shape of Durga Ekchala, and it symbolizes the inseparability of the elements. On the floor, I have drawn motifs connected to my roots. This specific style is called Alpona. So Alpona is something that we do to welcome divine. It's kind of a welcoming mat for the divine. I used rice flour and zinc oxide, and it is a traditional way of mixing. So we used to have rice soaked in the water overnight, and in the morning it's not mortar and pestle, but it is longer stone, and so we kind of mix in that, make that mixing, rice mixing, and then use water and sometimes zinc oxide because that gives that beautiful white, and then depict on the floor. And this depiction happens whatever inside you are thinking. It is not that you curate something beautifully right away. It's intense, spontaneous, and you kind of do it to welcoming that divineness. I use fingers as my brush in this traditional way of drawing Alpona, and we used to do that, but you can use brushes as well. Yeah, and I think that's it for my talk. So I have a long list of thank you. Please bear with me. School for the Arts, the Department of Anthropology, the Kinderdine Gallery, my supervisor, Professor Crane and Professor Burns, my committee member, Ella Dawn Megoff, all the faculty members of our department, my wonderful cohorts there, Joseph, Nadine, and Anna, our technicians, Barb, Todd, and Patrick, Gabby, Cole, Ben, and Al. Thanks to all of you and online viewers. Thanks to my Bengali community who gave me a chance to be with them and collect my data. So throughout my research, I interviewed, and I collected data to do my further research show. My family and friends, and my dear husband and our daughter. Thank you. And it's just half an hour.
Thank you, Atrayee. It was a wonderful talk and introduction to your work and research. And now there's some time for questions. Put up your hand if you have a question, and I'll come and bring the microphone to you. Lisa has a question.
Thanks so much, Atrayee. Always so fabulous to hear you speak, and your generosity in sharing all of your knowledge is very much appreciated, so I'm always learning. Thank you. I'm curious about this merging of spirituality and symbolism with your contemporary art practice, and I'd be really interested to hear a little bit more about how you navigate that when you're actually creating work, like how you're choosing specific symbols. Are you getting yourself into a specific headspace before you start working? So I just would love to learn a little bit more about your process there in merging those elements.
Wow, big question. So as I said, like when I was working with that clay artist, I saw there was not much of thought process going on, but more of like ritual going on to use materials as they have it. So in my practice, I also want to try that now. Let's say if I'm thinking of using clay, so clay is something very earthy. Making symbols is kind of what do I need to say for that particular thing? And then trying to incorporate that idea and kind of build. And as I build, maybe I think too much of that symbol or the meaning of the symbol so that sometime maybe it will show whatever I wanted, but I really want to practice that, not overthinking of that particular material, but what that means to me and how that is helping me as an artist. Does that make sense a little bit? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We have another question.
So, I was wondering if you encountered any cultural changes that have occurred within the festivals and the traditions between, from the home and here. Like, did you encounter any subtle changes, like within the anthropological cultural side? Like, is there any subtle changes that you noticed at all?
Well, that's a great question. There are a lot of changes. Because again, like when I was doing my interview with the people, and especially I'm blessed that one of the founding members is still here with us. I mean, other people passed away, so just the only couple I have, and we are talking about it. So when this started 56 years ago, there were almost nothing traditional things were here in Saskatoon. Not even basmati rice. So I researched basmati rice actually was introduced in 1990s here in North America. So like you can see how rice is incorporated in all part of it, right? It's this big, huge, like we have sweet dishes that makes, that is especially the ingredient is rice, the ceremonial purposes, everything is rice. So what they say that they bought those 2 minutes rice packet individual, those packets were available that time. So they just bought that and just started, because for them, it was more of like the connection, more of like the heritage kind of bringing with them and make a connection with the community. So over the years, this community actually made a huge connection with the Saskatchewan community. So like in our celebration, we had mayor coming in, different big dignitaries coming in and celebration. So they tried one after another. And even they mentioned about ginger, fresh ginger, or fresh something to make traditional food was really hard. So I think that happens a lot when the places moves here and there, and you move to one big part of you is here, and then that. But because this is, again, a festival, it is a community festivity, so you can be anyone to be a part of it. So that's how I think they take on to that philosophy and kind of move on with that even if we don't have the specific rice, we are moving on with this 2 minutes packet. So yeah, thanks.
Thank you. I have two questions. Okay, I'm going to go with Ella, and then I'll come over there.
I'm glad you started with me, just because my question actually follows up from Ryan's there. Because I'm interested in this methodology that you're communicating from your community, of making do or making subtle changes, using dry ginger instead of fresh ginger, etc. And I'm wondering if you practice that in your own work as well, making material substitutions, not being in India, for example, and so you're making do with what we have here, which is quite different than what you would have access to back home.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes that's a struggle. It's like, no, I want to do that, but I'm not doing so. The image I showed and I did here, I really wanted to use like natural pigments and everything. For the color purposes, the red is red clay, which is, yeah, natural. The yellow, I really wanted to use turmeric in there. So as I started working with that, and also I think I didn't add too much of turmeric. It's just like, I don't know what happens. But again, the yellow faded over time. So I used acrylic to make it that yellow. But again, this kind of changes, and also raw clay, sometimes they have the 3 different clays, right? So I don't have it. I have buff clay. And recently I'm thinking of using the Saskatchewan clay. So it is going to be completely different than the buff clay, than the red clay. And I think this is the clay I used from the extra clay we had somewhere. That's the Saskatchewan clay, I believe. So yeah, so the color variation happens. Sometimes it's hard, but I mean, that's how we learn. And I think I'm learning too, that wherever I am here, right now I'm here, this is my home. So I will make sure that whatever I use, I have it here and get going. Does that make sense?
Thank you. Another question over here.
Thanks, Jennifer. About learning, that's where, can you go to the last slide?
Yeah.
Yeah. I had the opportunity to work with Atrayee. She let me color on the floor with her rice, and it's more difficult than you think to have that paint running. I don't know if it's paint, but have that running down your finger to work. And I think that would be a great thing to do with the community, because your whole piece is about community. Everything's about community. So when you have your MFA show, maybe have a workshop with that. Maybe continue with that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That
Yeah,
would-
because the mixing has to have some kind of consistency that goes run down to your finger to work with. And we use cotton to mix it and then hold it such a way that you press it in one finger and that liquid follows to the other finger and you draw with it. So if you are using like your 4 fingers or your 4 different brush tips, so depending on the line thickness and everything, you kind of move around within your fingers to make it happen. So,
Well, I look forward to that workshop.
thank you.
Thank you. Some other questions? Coming over, Joseph.
Thank you, Trey, so much for your talk. It was so great. I really loved the behind-the-scenes photos of the creation of the sculptural deity. It was really beautiful to see those images. So you talked about the unfired clay, but when the final image was shown, it seemed like there were more materials used, possibly textiles or paper. Could you just tell us about the other materials that was used in the creation of that work?
Sure. So for the Saskatoon's idol, it is a fiberglass, and they paint the fiberglass in whatever the way, and then that's there because it is going to be like a more longer, and you are not going to discard it in the water. So, and that's kind of happening with the contemporary time. People are going everywhere in the world and celebrating. So, but in Kolkata, this is also shifting a little bit with the traditional way. So it is unfired clay, but what they do is they use clay to decorate. The last, are you talking the green deity. So it is actually unfired clay, and they painted. So they use a paint a lot. Sorry, it was just a video. Oh. Where am I? Sorry. Can I go to the first video, please? Oh, after that. Yeah. Yeah. So, like each deity, these are all actually unfired clay. And then they use absolutely the sari, the wearing sari is always the fabric, the real fabric. And then the jewelry goes like everywhere. You can name it with multiple, like from actual gold jewelry to the fake ones with papers and different kinds of things. So this is just like all unfired clay. Nothing is fired here. But again, using those colors is amazing. Also, some clubs, they do try to use different materials, like already fired things, and they kind of join to make that happen. That also there. But those are mostly if this is something, piece of an art, and we do have a museum, so that goes into the museum. That is not going to go in the Ganges. So mostly all of it goes into Ganges, but yeah, there's some of it. So they do use a natural fabric, they do use different kind of material, metal, jewelry, even gold, pure gold jewelry too. Yeah, seriously, it's just like, oh my God, amazing. 25 feet, 30 feet height of an idol and full gold jewelry. So, yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Some other questions? Okay. Thanks everyone for coming and joining us online, and thank you very much, Atrayee.
Thank you. I appreciate it.